Hey guys, this is Jimmy from Spin Retro. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can set up FPse emulator to get the best PlayStation 1 emulation performance on Retroid Pocket 2. Now before we start, I do want to mention that there is RetroArch emulator that runs PSX ReArmed core, and that core is good enough for most of the PS1 games. There are a few games that you can't run at full speed on RetroArch, and there are some games that you can't run at all, and that is Gran Turismo 2. So I will demonstrate in a moment, and let's get to it. So I'm going to show you how Gran Turismo 2 runs on RetroArch using ReArmed core. So far it's so good, but once the game starts, the game glitches. So this, as you can see, this game is definitely unplayable. So I'll show you how it runs on FPse emulator. So we're now at FPse emulator running Gran Turismo 2. So as you can see, the game is running at full speed, 60 frames per second. So now we're at the settings menu. This emulator, FPse emulator, you can get it from Google Play Store for about $4. I think it's $3.63, but it's around $4. I think it's worth every penny because you can run most PS1 games and runs most games at full speed. And now I'll get to how you can set up this emulator to run like this. When you first run this emulator, it doesn't run all the games perfectly. You have to set it up. So we'll go to each settings and I'll explain how you can set it up this way. Before we move on to the settings, you can always go to the help menu and it'll show you. Let me move down. So it'll explain what each of the settings do. So when in doubt, you can always refer to this document and tweak as you need it. So first, go to Systems and turn off everything. You don't need any of these. Maybe automatic saving. Automatic saving, what that does is when you restart the game, it'll start off at the place you last left off. So that might be useful. But I turned off everything for now. Moving on to audio. You want to keep synchronized with sound processor, otherwise the game will break. So keep that on. And OpenSL-ES, keep that on. Moving to the video section. You want to turn on frame limiter. If you turn that off, the game will run too fast. It'll exceed 60 frames per second. So some games will be unplayable that way. So keep this on. And if you want to turn on frame skipping for games that are harder to emulate, I don't think I've found any games that needed frame skipping for PlayStation 1. So you can turn this off. You can turn display FPS off if you don't want to see the frames per second count. Now turn everything off except for enhanced rendering. You want to keep hardware acceleration on, and you want to turn on accelerate high resolution games, and that's it. You can play around with native support of widescreens. What this does is it will support 16:9 ratio. The game is originally 4:3, and right now I have it as full screen stretch mode. But if you turn this on, it won't stretch it, and it will hack the game to force 16:9 ratio. But it's not recommended because you might come across some graphical glitches. So turn this off. Go to advanced. Go to video. And go to video mode. The fastest setup is software faster mode. But I tried using software smooth image. It works. I don't lose much frames that way. So I keep it a software smooth image. And go to resolution HD software plugin and keep it at 4x because I tried both resolution 2x and 4x and I compared between the two, and I don't lose any performance by choosing 4x. So keep it at 4x. And go to special screen size. This is where you set the full screen if you want to. You can keep it at 4:3 original, and that will keep the ratio. Oh well, this is already this is not 4:3. So keeping it original will give you some black letterbox and columns. And thread priority displaying, keep it at 1. And go to System. Click Switch to Low Profile. Right now I toggled it off, so I'm going to toggle it back on. So you want to have Low Profile switched on. And then go to Low and Device Profile and keep it enabled. And make sure when you set all these, go back to the main menu and quit FPSE and restart so that the settings are saved. So anything you save before you enter the game, it will save as a global setting. So that setting will be applied to all games. If you access this settings menu within the game, you can save individually per that game. So that's how you set up the performance related settings. And now I'm going to talk about how you can manage key bindings. So go to Settings, go to Gamepad, and click Map the Hardware buttons. Click Gamepad 1. When you first install this emulator, cross and I believe circle and cross, they are swapped because A is select in Retroid Pocket 2. So you can remap this. Right now I'm in a mouse mode, so I'm gonna exit mouse mode and press A for circle and cross for B button. And triangle is X. Square button is X. Now, other buttons are already configured. Now, another thing that you need to configure is the SD card path. Because Retroid Pocket 2 is not detecting TF card slot accurately as SD card 2 or external card slot, the device using FPSE emulator, it can't auto detect where that path is. So you have to manually set it. So go to Advanced, Path, add Scan Path, and you have to manually type this in. You can't use the navigator to select this path. You actually have to type it. So I have PS1 folder within root of SD card 1, inside ROMs folder, inside FPS1 folder. So that's how I would set it up. Yours might vary. But once that's saved, click Save. And when you restart, it'll actually find all the ROMs for you. Now, another very good feature of FPSE emulator that other emulators don't have is this freeing the disk space feature. So what this does is it converts all the ROMs, bin files, and ISO files into a compressed PBP files. So I have about 10 ROMs, and I use this feature to compress everything. It saved me 4 gigabyte, and that's a lot for 64 gigabyte SD card that I have. 4 gigabyte was huge. So this is a very neat feature. It'll auto detect all the ROMs and convert them all into PBP files. So that's good. Next, I also want to mention that they have local network multiplayer session. So when you go here, and you can do local network or net play over the internet. I haven't tested the internet one, but I did test the local network net play, and it works. So to do that, click this, and if you want to become the host, set you as a player 1, and now you have that IP address. Click the game, and now it's waiting for a player 2. So if you have another Retroid Pocket 2 or any phones that's running FPse emulator, you can go to this same menu and set yourself as player 2, and as soon as you select that, you guys can go into a multiplayer session. You do have to have the same game in both devices, so that's the prerequisite. Next, I'm going to show you how you can manually edit your game files. Now, make yourself enter into the mouse mode and long press the game. If you click the first option, you can change the title of the game. You can also change the icon, search for an icon, compress this disk, and convert the ISO or bin file into PBP file. You can also delete. You can create a shortcut to the home page. You can set certain video mode for this game, but you can also enter the game and enter the setting to adjust all the settings there. Now I will show you some gameplays for some of the games that are harder to run. And this is Diablo 1. So Diablo 1 running at full frames. And next is Walt Disney's Walt Disney Quest Magical Racing Tour. So this game doesn't run at full speed over a RetroArch. This runs perfectly fine over at FPse emulator after tweaking the settings.
Welcome to the...
And this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. So there you have it, guys. This is how you can set up FPse emulator. If you have any questions regarding this emulator, leave it in the comments below. Likes and subscribe, and thank you for watching.